We had a lot of positive feedback, reaction to some of the stuff we discussed, previously on learning and learning styles. One of the things that you had brought up during that discussion was development of the associate and really treating employees certain ways so that we make sure that they're following a career path. Something interesting that we were discussing offline, per se, is viewing employees as customers, right? Kind of thinking like that. So, kind of walk me through from your vantage point. What does that mean? What things that we should be looking at? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think it's very important to keep in mind that employee satisfaction will absolutely drive customer satisfaction, customer retention, profit, everything that you want from a successful business. And from the different aspect, we want to make sure that we think about the employee experience from start to finish,
Right.
everything from that interview, onboarding, how the training goes to mid-career, how different opportunities are presented, and when life happens, how we as an employer help them through those different situations, whether it's adding to family, whatever that might look like for
Right.
them, to eventually offboarding, which is equally as important because it helps maintain the reputation of the organization if they have a positive exit experience as well.
Yeah, just like a customer, right?
Exactly.
Sometimes we cannot solve all the customer's problems, and ultimately, the best situation for that customer is no longer to do service with us for whatever reason. And I think from an employee perspective, taking that analogy, and usually, especially in our industry, we remove them quickly. We don't discover opportunities to improve when they do leave the organization for whatever reason. And we also don't keep in touch.
No, or if somebody is unhappy in a current role, another opportunity is to take a look around your organization and see if their skills are better suited for a different opportunity.
Right.
Maybe they would still be successful within the organization, but in a different way, in a different role, either taking on warranties or taking on a different role for the organization and really put their skills to use.
Right.
But if they do leave, another thing that we're seeing a lot of in all industries is what they're terming as boomerang employees. So you want them to leave with a good impression of your organization and to speak favorably
Sure.
to everyone that they know, because that'll give you two benefits. They may come back in the future with different opportunities and skill sets for your organization.
Absolutely.
But also every positive message they send out into the world could be a referral to you, either for a customer or for another awesome employee that you could have join the team.
Well, I think that's a great point, especially even just they are customers.
Yes.
They drive vehicles, they service vehicles. We happen to be a business to do that, I believe.
Yes.
Right? And we forget that piece of it. As they leave, their family, extended friends are going to need a vehicle, need service. What a better way of having that positive message. And I think we're so ready to be done with that situation.
Yes.
That we miss that opportunity, not only to improve, but again, retain that positive relationship.
Yes. Maintain
think-
trust.
For sure. And just, kind of thinking about that whole that customer concept, we spent a lot of time on marketing. The manufacturer spent a lot of time on how to get customers and talk about things. So a couple of, areas just a reference when you're thinking about customer is, and it makes perfect sense for the employees as we're talking about, right? We try to understand the needs of the customer.
Yes.
Right? What do the customers need? Personalization for a customer, that the transaction is personalized. It's not a transaction, right? It's relationships, personalized approach. Communication.
Oh, absolutely. And I think communication is a big driver with employee engagement and employee retention, because if you have a clear, consistent, easily understandable message,
Right.
and you keep that message through, it's transparent, open, and honest, so they feel that they have trust with you as an employer. That's going to translate into their experience then and their interactions with your customers. It's going to help with retention, engagement. The other thing that we see a lot, and I think this is true whether it's in the workplace or in personal relationships,
Yep.
you see a lot of times that if people feel there's a gap in communication, they fill in the blank with their own message.
Absolutely.
And that's not something that we want to happen, because then you have lost control of the narrative of what might truly be happening in an organization to benefit your employees,
Sure.
the customers. But if the team is adding their own spin to what might be happen, and typically it's usually something negative.
It's not positive.
No, it's never a positive assumption.
Right.
So we want to make sure that we're giving opportunities there to be as open and honest as possible. And I think we forget that sometimes as
Sure.
leaders or as managers, and where we might think that we've already communicated a message.
Yeah, and I think over communication, you cannot communicate enough.
Yes.
Then the customer's filling the same gaps. We
Yes.
haven't called them in 5 or 6 days with their car, and
Hmm.
they feel we've forgotten them, and they
Yes.
fill in the gap that, hey, well, maybe they don't know what they're doing,
Yes.
and employees have the same. And I think we take for granted that they understand, just like a customer, we take for granted. Well, they know the part's not here, right?
Yes.
Well, that we still need to communicate and reaffirm, hey, part's still on its way. I haven't forgotten you. Just like the associates. I know we talked about this. It's still on our plan. You're doing a great job. Here's what we need to do. Right?
Absolutely.
That perfect communication.
And to what you said earlier, it makes it more of a relationship rather than a transaction
Sure.
where you're just a number, either as an
Right.
employee or as a customer.
So in the customer journey, there are a lot of things. We have VIP rewards, right? We have loyalty programs, right? Or to, I know Kohl's, I would always joke at home, right? If you're shopping with Kohl's at a discount, right?
Yes,
They've
yes.
got you.
Get that
So
cash.
same thing, employees, like recognition. Where do you see the power of recognition when talking about,
I think that it's a really underutilized opportunity because rewards and recognition, many businesses and organizations see that as a cost,
Right.
as a spend, right? But
Right.
in reality, if you have this built-in recognition, it can be as simple as a very public thank you.
right?
As long as it's genuine, there's some type of recognition. I've seen in some facilities, you'll see that recognition for years of service, for example, and they'll have the boards with the milestones,
Yeah.
the names.
Impactful.
It's very visible to the other colleagues. They can
Right.
see how long you've been with the organization. For
Yeah.
the customers as well, there's an added built-in benefit to the business because if they see you have long tenured colleagues, they're going to have a little more trust that you know what you're doing, that
Yeah.
you're a great place to be.
And what a wow factor for a new associate coming in.
Absolutely. To
Right.
see that and want to get their name as part of that recognition.
Right. So anything else? I mean, we kind of talked about looking at an employee as a customer. What would be outside of communication? I think the recognition is something we don't do enough of in the retail, genuine recognition.
Yes.
Right, as it happens. And I think one of the things, just like from a customer vantage point, if we give you a reward, we try to be very specific. I think in the recognition, we are sometimes general. Hey, you're doing a great job.
Yes.
Well, okay, but
Yes, which is nice, but it's a missed opportunity
For
because
sure.
really that recognition, it needs to be very specific. I noticed that you did this and this was the response or the reaction, or hey, great job leading that meeting. I really saw improvements in your communication. I was really wowed by
Right.
whatever might have happened.
Right.
Making it very specific and making it about the person you are providing recognition to is another big thing because sometimes when it's more general, it feels like a blanket statement that you either weren't engaged in paying attention to what truly happened,
Right.
you haven't noticed or commented on something specific that the colleague has delivered. Make it about that person and take stock of those notes and development conversations you've had through their learning journey as a
Right.
colleague, because then you can really say, you really have stepped it up in this category and it shows.
Yeah, and what is the chances they're going to repeat that great job?
Absolutely. That's where really it's rewarding that good behavior and performance that you want to see.
Right.
Similar to any type of, again, professional and personal, it carries over into that personal life as well. Rather than disciplining something along those lines, if you can reward and recognize that behavior you want to see more of,
Right.
you will continue to see more and more of that. I think is really a great opportunity.
I couldn't agree more. Right. I think changing that focus of look at your employees as customers, think about all the great things you do for customers, and just flip it.
Yes.
Right? If we provide this for a customer, how could we then provide that to our associates, which then in turn they will provide that same level of service to our customers to create retention and ultimately profitability,
Absolutely.
which is certainly the result of both of those parties, right, being super happy.
Yes, will help boost all of that. I think another advantage to treating your employee like a customer is really looking at that sense of belonging, which again helps with engagement, it helps with retention, it helps with referrals, whether it's for customers or for other potential employees
Sure.
to bring that in. Because what we've seen a lot of in the recent years, and I don't know if this is a result of the pandemic or just where we're at as a society, looking for employment, is we're really looking for that opportunity to feel like we're part of a community, part of something bigger than ourselves, and that we're really making a difference. So, if you're tailoring that personalized approach, hey, I see that you're really focused on education. talk to me about what you might want to see in working with that colleague versus someone who might be at a different stage of life and getting closer to retirement. Hey, let me help with the transfer of knowledge, making sure that you have all the information you need, different types of benefits or different opportunities for people at different stages of their career opportunities.
Yeah, I think that's that adaptability, the
Yes.
flexibility that we do for our customers, but
Hmm.
somehow we're very stringent sometimes when it comes to the workplace. And
Yes.
I know a narrative that certainly came out of the pandemic is starting to manage the whole person,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Not just the piece of the person that's at the store. I think we've
Hmm.
talked about on, looking at all those aspects. So,
Yes.
really interesting way to look at it. But I do think,
Hmm.
if more of our retail dealerships start looking at the employees as customers, a lot of the other stuff will be easy lifting.
Yes, it'll fall right into place. And along those lines with inclusion, the other thing that we've seen a big push for lately in all industries is really looking for corporate responsibility. The organization that they're a part of, what do they stand for? Do their values match with mine as an employee and as a colleague so
Right.
that I can feel good about what I do at work and that there's not that disconnect between who I am as a person away from work? I can bring my true genuine, full personality, full self, and everything that I believe in to work. And I know that they support that, whether
Absolutely.
that's charitable giving, whether that's volunteer time, making sure that there's different opportunities as a community partner. And that really helps with the, again, inclusion, belonging, feeling like they're part of something bigger, and
Right.
feeling like they're very comfortable at work because it aligns with their values and doesn't lead to that burnout or opportunity where employee might look somewhere else for a place to work.
Sure, sure. And we do see it a lot. Well, hey, I appreciate you again spending some more time. I think, put a nice bow on that. And as we continue with this journey, retaining employees and, getting to happy customers, that's the name of the game.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.